Hey, Blue Rockers, Connie Willis here. In fact, it's Crypto Connie now, and this is our live show that we've been promoting for about, less than 24 hours. But we broke in live, I guess even less than 48 hours ago to tell you about this great deal with BitcoinLatina. And we have the stars of all of this deal with us right now live. This is a live show. It is Q&A as well. We have the godfather of BitShares right here, Stan Larimer. You guys all know him. Yay, the crowd roars. And John Gotts is here too, CEO of BitcoinLatina Foundation. Yay, and a true blue rocker. Boy, he was quick with this, Stan. He was so fast with this. He's in connection with the universe and everything, just like a true blue rocker. So I'm loving it. So Stan, go ahead and start this for us. Tell us about this deal, how you worked it out, and what's going on with BitShares and BitcoinLatina.
Well, this is all John's brainchild. I just was there in the side heckling him a little bit. But, it's utterly amazing. It's hard for me to say which I'm more excited about. Certainly having a new asset on BitShares is very, very exciting. And then just the number of ways he got the Latin American community involved. I think he could talk about that for hours in terms of building ownership, if you will, across all of Latin America. And that was masterfully done and probably the key to its success in adoption. So he has quite a strategy for doing that. And, I'll admit that I really like the idea of the CubeSats out there too, projecting that into parts of the unbanked world where they don't necessarily have coverage. But if you want to get to the point where it becomes a international currency, you got to make sure you have connectivity everywhere you need it. So those are the kind of things I like. John can tell you 10 more things.
and I loved, I just met John. We went on, it was that breaking of news. I had never met him before, seen him before, except that we were just lining up, getting on the show. And so to start live with someone on Blue Rock Talk, on the big blue globe that we've got going on this planet, but the fact that, his intelligence level, unbelievable, and his background. And I love, and no offense to people out there that want this higher education, I get it, but I love when someone says they didn't finish high school, and they are like mega brilliant, because I never wanted to go to school. I just wanted to go to LA or New York and do television and film. I knew what I wanted to do, so I just hated waiting every second for, I gotta go all the way through 12th grade, and then I gotta go through college for my parents. I just want to go to LA, so I love it. I think it's great, John. I admire that, and no offense to people that get mad at me because I admire what a high school dropout you said. No. You know what you wanted to do.
I got lucky. I had a really nice mom. My mom,
I love it.
Just saw that I just was not having fun. I was spending all my time at the library reading annual reports and hanging out at E.F. Hutton, learning how to trade stocks.
Right.
And my parents were like, do you want to just go take your GED and just call it quits? And I like, great. And then I surprised them a month later and stuck out my thumb and hitchhiked for 3 years across the country.
No.
They didn't see that coming.
They went, where did we go wrong?
Yeah, but anyway, I was lucky to just have a really great mom and dad that supported whatever I did.
And that's what it takes. That's exactly what it takes.
I got lucky. I got lucky that way.
You did. And that support like that. But it wasn't like you were out just, hanging out and hitchhiking originally. It was that they saw you really working hard and beyond the levels of where you were probably supposed to be in school for sure.
I'll tell you, it's a real pleasure to work with Stan,
yes.
And it's great to work with people that have gray hair like myself. If I didn't shave it off, I'm 51 in May. But the real brainchild, the real genius on our team has to be, just as Stan must be incredibly proud of Dan. We've got Tim Mesker on our team, and when we first started working with him, he had done Radium Coin, and I think he did it when he was 16. He was done with high school at 14, done with college a couple of years later at 16, I think, and started Radium and really got into crypto about 4 years ago. But at 18, I would put him up with incredible conversation. He's one of the smartest people I've ever met on the planet. But at 18, he's hard forked Ethereum here for us. He's connected it up with BitShares, and I know you want to talk about Bitcoin Latina, but frankly,
Go for
the
it.
connections that we have with BitShares itself is what's really making this all very possible. Everybody has seen ERC20 tokens on Ethereum go into ICO land, most of them illegal, frankly. I mean, I'm an expert at this. Our lawyers wrote Reg A+, most of it, and they're all ex-SEC lawyers. And so we know the rules, and most of them didn't follow them. Well, what we want to do is we want to do the Latin American ICO market. There isn't one. There is not one. We want to do that. And on the hard fork of Ethereum, we will do that. We will create the equivalent of ERC20 tokens, but where they will be on-ramped and where they will always trade is BitShares. It was so easy to put our trust tokens on BitShares and sell them. It was just simple. And the community is supportive, and the core engineers are available, and they're there to help.
And it makes sense, doesn't it? It makes sense, doesn't it?
Look, you've got to remember that BitShares invented this.
Yes.
To Stan's point about cube satellites, we believe that all of the transactions that we're going to do as far as the on-ramping and that, we can do this on BitShares, but there's a payment network coming that I can't really tell you much more about except that it's built with Pager, PAYGER.com, that used to be Block Pay. And Pager is built on BitShares. And Christoph is one of the core founders of BitShares Munich. He's a core developer. He's been testing this for like 7 or 8 months now. And he's... Yeah, well, so, but he's built it for 2.5, 3 years. So this isn't something that maybe it'll be here in a year or two. This is something that's right now. But it's not just that alone is solving banking the unbanked, but understand that it runs on BitShares. It will run across the CubeSats. Until then, it'll run through the hard black wire, and that's fine. But understand that BitShares, the core of BitShares, is going to allow for all of this banking the unbanked. I mean, we literally could see hundreds of billions of dollars per month floating through this across Latin America, and the backbone is BitShares. And I'll tell you why. We met with most of the founders, as I said in the last conversation, and Stan knows this because that's about the time that we met him and Michael, and was surprised that Michael lived right here in Idaho, close to where I do. But our CTO, Tim Mesker, said, look, we got to use BitShares. His son, Dan, is building the graphene network, or the EOS, right, off graphene. And graphene's doing, I've heard rumored 4 million transactions a second. I don't know. But even BitShares, I think, don't quote me, I'm not the tech guy, but I think it's like 100,000 transactions a second. Blows away Bitcoin, blows away Ethereum, not even close.
Right.
It can handle the transaction load.
Yes.
Name another blockchain out there today that can handle hundreds of billions of dollars in transactions a month safely. It's never been hacked.
Can't do it.
BitShares has never been hacked. Okay? They invented this space. The whole idea of, frankly, they invented the whole space. And they're the most hard-tested. They have an exchange that, like I say, is super easy to get on. But I think the big, and we were meeting with Janine, Bethany and I did the other day. We had dinner with one of the people that we've given a grant of coins to. And we talked them into moving to BitShares. I say talked into, and I don't want to take all credit because Stan is also an advisor to their company. I introduced them. Stan's been trying to get them to BitShares. I think maybe I just tipped them over the edge there to that. But now they're going to build it on BitShares. And Topia
Excellent.
Technology for 17 years worked with the military to move communication of data between one place and another safely. Now they're going to be the Dropbox on the blockchain with safe transport of messages within micro groups.
That's awesome.
All on BitShares. So really,
Is he telling
we
secrets
love
on you,
BitShares.
Stan, that you haven't announced
No,
yet?
no. Topia Technology, if they haven't announced it, are going to announce it very quickly. All I'm saying is that there's a reason that I trust Topia, not only for our own tech, but even to, refer other people and to introduce Stan to them in that, because this is going to be huge. I see BitShares as being the backbone of Latin American commerce.
And what do you see? Now that was the whole reason I even brought up the education thing, because I was getting to the point, to the fact that you knew exactly how powerful BitShares is. I mean, it's amazing. But another question is, how big is the Latina population? How much bigger is it going to grow because of the crypto world? Or how much bigger is the crypto world going to grow because they will now have access?
Well, that's really interesting. And, so certainly the CubeSats are going to help with getting into remote areas of Latin America as well and providing them. But it won't be internet access. It'll just, again, be for this BitShares and high speed and for decentralized applications that run on top of our Ethereum fork blockchain. But it's not going to be internet access. But it's specifically to do this stuff on BitShares. More even than the decentralized apps on our blockchain. BitShares is already built. It's ready to go now.
Right.
We're building ours. I wouldn't trust ours, frankly, right now to put banking or any commerce on it. But I would absolutely bet my life on BitShares because they've never been hacked. They are decentralized. They are out there. They don't rely on miners. It's a whole different thing than Ethereum and mining, but it's brilliant, flat out, and it's fast. And it's efficient.
Yeah, I love that the mining is outlawed.
But to your point, 650 million. And it might be closer to 700. Wow. And the reason that the House and Senate members that are advisors to me, it's not so much that they're advisors to BitcoinLatina, directly the foundation. It's more that they're advisors to me. By doing so, they have to recuse themselves from voting on anything to do with crypto. And, of course, I would never ask them, and I'm not in any state where they are. I'm not asking for any crypto laws in those states. That's not what it's about. These guys have been my friends for nearly a decade, and they've been my trusted advisors for that long. And what they really love is the idea of half the population of China that we can ship things to on rail and freight. And if we can lift up their community and make them a really strong consumer population, then we've got half the population of China that could be buying our goods instead of cheap labor shipping it here and not buying our goods. That's not as good a neighbor as someone that, so we're going to try and inject like $1 trillion into their network if we're totally successful.
Wow.
Into their economy rather.
So Sam, what do you think of that? Trillion, 650 million. These are nice sounding numbers all across the board, aren't they? How do you feel about all this?
Well, I'm delighted, and what's exciting about it is there's an East meets West component here too. The thing you just heard about is, for one thing, it's usable globally. Just because it's something that's targeted for Latin America, it can go anywhere. And with those satellites covering the planet, they don't just hover over Latin America. They're going as the Earth spins underneath it. They cover every part of the world, so that's great. And then we just did that deal with the Silk Road Museum, which is connected with the whole Silk Road project over there. That's a big deal in China, and that's part of their
different Silk Road, obviously.
Yes,
Silk Road than the one large.
It's Silk Route, not Silk Road. I always
triple. Okay.
Yeah. Don't mess me up.
By the way, too,
I call John Jeff once in a while too. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, right.
We're all getting old.
But you know what? To Stan's point, we already had someone that said they've got all the connections to government, universities, enterprise, everything, banks, everything else in Africa now, and they requested a turnkey solution. My response was, I am maniacally focused on the Latin American market and won't ever be going over there myself. But, let us get it turned into a cookie cutter and we won't even charge. It'll just be something that helps mankind. Because I think Stan's right. This isn't just a Latin American thing. It's just that we're the one that are at the bleeding edge inventing it.
And so I'm envisioning a planetary beltway, not just a Silk Route. But
all on BitShares.
Scaling that
all
up.
On BitShares.
Yeah.
And so the combination of those CubeSats and everything he's doing in Latin America, and we already got BitShares connectivity across the U.S. and Europe and all over the world. But as we work into each of these continents, we bring them on board and plug them together into a master beltway around the world of commerce and zero economic friction. And honest money. That's the whole BitShares goal from the beginning, and John just put a huge chunk in place.
I know. That.
Happy
and
about
then,
that.
Like today, I was watching something about, talking about the markets, and it's so, they needed you or they needed John on these shows, because when they ask some market specialists about Bitcoin, you can tell. I mean, even my small knowledge of the cryptocurrency world, I knew more than the person on the market talking about Bitcoin. It was amazing. They had no clue, and I could tell. I mean, even my small amount that I know, I could tell she didn't know what she was talking about.
Have you seen that meme where this guy is holding up these two? Have you guys seen the meme where this guy is holding up 2 physical Bitcoins, and he's like, "I got this guy to sell these 2 Bitcoins to me for $1,000 a piece. What a sucker." Right? Most people don't even know what Bitcoin represents.
I know. I couldn't believe
it's hilarious.
Because they had said something about, one of the things they said too was they're backed by nothing, and don't put all the money in that you're not,
just to completely,
a
completely decentralized global network of computers where people are paying for the hardware, service, and electricity updates and building decentralized apps on it. But other than that, yeah, you're right. There's nothing behind it.
Well, what I just wanted to scream out if I were on that show, I wanted to say, well, guess what? We've got the Quint coming. So, are you familiar with the Quint?
You remember now. Just remember the market that you're talking about here. These are people that when the market goes in November to a new high last month and then goes back to where it was in November, they are screaming that the sky is falling.
Freak out.
Yeah. It's been on a 24-month run that's seen it go up 50%, but it backs off 5% a day, and people are just losing their head. Whatever. I don't even look at the markets. I don't even look at coin market cap. It's a focus on what are we doing and what is our mission and how are we expanding and improving on crypto and making it safer for people that want to be involved, for the investors, make it legal, do background checks, be audited, do everything correctly. BitShares did. They were one of the first groups that we looked at and said, yes, those guys, they did it right, and they did it legally, and that's a good legal crypto. Exchanges, too. Mark this on your calendar. We're going to see some fallout in the exchange space. Someone on the inside told me that there's a major crypto exchange that's going to go down, and it's going to send shockwaves across the crypto space, quote unquote.
And on what day of the calendar is that?
He wouldn't even tell me the name of. He wouldn't tell me the name. And I asked him again and again and again, and he just wouldn't tell me the name. But it's somebody who knows, and they could be wrong. I'm not spreading fear and uncertainty and doubt. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying I love BitShares because it's a legal exchange. It's decentralized, and there's no one. And here, let me give you the rundown on what makes an illegal exchange. According to Regulation A+, Title 4, Tier 2 of the Securities and Exchange Commission, they say that you can actually sell to the public if you're audited and you do background checks and everything, and then you can trade on a peer-to-peer exchange. And it's legal as long as no one is charging broker-dealer fees. And if you're charging broker-dealer fees like Coinbase or Bittrex or Poloniex or Kraken or, let's go on. Those are all, by the way, centralized exchanges located in the United States. That is in the reach. So in my purview, when I'm trying to, who's he talking about? I'm zooming in on who they can reach. And they made a point the other day, Chairman Clayton said in front of Congress, that it's very hard for them to reach out right now, and you have to wait until traffic monsoon. Casey didn't mention that. It'll give them global jurisdiction, but currently they don't have it to reach out, even with class actions or anything else. So who are they going to reach out to? It's got to be someone in the U.S. So I'd get my money in cold storage real quick if I was on any U.S. exchange, frankly, just on this rumor. Because why not? If I'm 100% wrong on this, you've got cold storage. If I'm right, you saved your ass.
That's right.
Okay,
that's
so
true.
It's sort of like
you heard it here first on Blue Rock Talk.
I think it was Ptolemy that said that you might as well believe in God because when you die, if there's no God, it doesn't matter. But if there is,
yes. What is that paper,
right?
Stan?
So why not cover your bets, right?
That's right, Stan. What is that? I was just talking about that paperwork with someone. There's an actual paperwork that says that. But why not go ahead and believe? At least you're safer.
Well, you're safe. So here's the thing. I put it in cold storage just for that. But I'll tell you this. Here's what makes for a legal exchange. You can do a peer-to-peer exchange if there is no broker-dealer fee. If there's a broker-dealer fee, you suddenly bring a monster load of stuff down on yourself in regulatory, including you now must have at least a commodities license if your argument is that you only trade cryptocurrencies like they do on Coinbase or Gemini, for instance, or Templin's going to. They're going to do securities. Now, securities, you definitely need a securities license, and your exchange has to be registered with the Securities Exchange Commission. If you're going to do anything else, I was one of the first ones to say that everything is either a security or commodity, and there's no new asset class. There's a utility coin is still a commodity if it's trading. And if that's the case, then it's covered by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. And so it is either this or that. And if you're going to have an exchange and it has either this or that, then you need a commodities license and you need a securities license or you need an exchange license that's registered or is a national exchange that you're going to, take time to get, maybe years and $100 million. But I'll tell you what, how many of those are there? Okay. Most charge. So the fact is, BitShares is going to be left standing. When the dust falls, BitShares will still be there. Okay, so that's another reason we chose BitShares.
BitShares is king, without a doubt. Before we move on and talk about just other things that are awesome, without a doubt, there's nothing wrong with that. But can you tell people what they have until midnight to do? Midnight Pacific.
Sure.
Let them know the deal.
And by the way, thank you guys to the community, and thank you to BitShares community as well, because when the message went out there that all of our ICOs going forward will only be traded for BitShares. The way everyone did for Ethereum, it's only BitShares, and we lead by example always. And so we put our token, which represents our actual cryptocurrency, like I said, super easy, put it up on BitShares in our trust. The foundation's not selling it. And let me make a couple things clear. The founders put in this million coins on BitShares for sale, and 100% of the proceeds are going to either the foundation, which on Monday is going to start its filing for a Regulation A plus Title IV Tier 2 security offering of its own, but it's also going to go to St. Lazarus Foundation to build orphanages and hospitals in Latin America for children that are not safe, that could be safer and healthier. It's going to go to a women's group for Latin America. This trust is not the foundations. This trust, this million coins, where people like the Prince in Spain, Don Francisco, who also put in, and that's his St. Lazarus Foundation. And we're going to announce all this through the weekend and into Monday.
Okay.
But that million coins, we to reward the early adopters, because you got to get things moving. That first oyster eater is our hero every single time, right? Right? So we said until midnight.
I like the way that was said.
Well, it's a brave soul
cool.
who ate that first oyster, right? And found out, in fact, it was delicious. Right? With ketchup and horseradish, even better.
Got to have horseradish. So, absolutely.
Yeah, cocktail sauce.
A little Chardonnay. Chardonnay will go good. Okay, sorry. Anyway, go ahead.
Any wine will. Any wine will. But I agree, a Chardonnay would be good with that. So, till midnight, and I believe I said midnight Pacific.
Yes.
We will provide any BitShares. We'll do a snapshot. We'll do a snapshot of that, and we're going to reward with 100% whatever you had in BitShares from our trust. Again, not the foundation. Foundation isn't selling any coins ever, never will, or gives it out for work and mining, etc., writing code. And from the Reg A Plus, we'll actually build the operations and run the company like you're supposed to legally. But you'll get 100%. What we're going to do is you're going to see that we've stacked it right now, 75,000, 150, 150, until you have that last group of coins at 100 BitShares per coin. If it ramps on up to that, we're going to end up taking from that pile and double anybody's who has them. Now, I will say two things. First of all, I forgot to mention that part of what we're going to do with the proceeds is we're going to buy BitShares.com for the community. Oh. I know that that's been a point of contention.
Wow.
That you guys don't own the .com. I know every time I go there or went there before I knew better accidentally, and sometimes I just type fast and I hit .com because it's so much, in our brain to do so.
No, you're not doing anything fast. There's no
I want
way.
I want that given. And Michael, I wish he was on. He made a deal for $350,000. So if we can sell out this round, when we do, we're buying that $350,000 domain and we're donating it to the community. The trust is.
Wow.
Okay, so I want to be sure everyone knows that. Secondly,
that's
unfortunately,
before you say secondly,
Question, yeah.
Let me just say something real quick.
Yeah.
Michael, I I just learned how to put 3 people on, and if I could have learned how to put 4 people on, I would have brought you on the show. I just want you to know, I will figure that out, and we'll
next
do that.
time.
You're not forgotten, Michael. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, no. No, Michael was great because Michael put together that deal. And so thank God he did. It's been locked up. He's got it under contract before I made this announcement. I wanted to make sure he did because it's already kind of a rich price for the domain, $350,000, so that the community can have what rightfully belongs to them.
So let me ask you. So somebody just went and bought the domain at one point and sat on it? Is that what
I'm not against free enterprise and that somebody was smart enough to buy it. $350 to me seems incredibly rich, but
yes, I wish I were that person.
You know what? God bless
I tried
them.
to do that at one point too.
Hey, listen, I hope that it's somebody in a country where 350,000 will retire, frankly. But we're going to get that if we can sell out this run. And I'll say that we did almost 350,000 since we did our show. The 16 hours after you did the show and Stan put out his message, about over 1 million BitShares worth of BitcoinLatina were purchased.
Stan, fist bump me.
All right,
fist bump all of us. All right. We did good on that. That's excellent.
So that's what made me think, my goodness, we could just buy the domain for 1 day of donations. We should also include the BitShares community and thank them by buying the domain. So that's awesome. Too. But
and one more thing about the name before you go. Because one of the questions was about the name. So let me ask that before you go on, since you're talking about the name. Patrick Konchak asked, do you guys think BitShares needs to change his name? And I guess Sam will ask you this first.
No, God,
to get rid of the shares part.
Absolutely not. No. But you got to understand, and I know you do, Connie, you're just provoking me.
I'm just asking. I'm the messenger here. I'm in between. Leave me alone.
Okay. Look. BitShares is a platform for holding regulatory compliant tokens. We can sell all kinds of legal shares on the BitShares.
Ours are all going to be security tokens.
Yeah. So
we bring across.
Yeah, we're not apologizing. John has brought us high quality regulatory compliant tokens that you can call shares because they're legally registered and everything. And BitShares is going to be the platform of where you can buy real legal shares, quality stuff.
Period.
So we're not apologizing.
I wish you all would add KYC-AML. I really do. If you guys would add KYC-AML, then you've got it. You nailed it. If the community would vote for KYC-AML, and I understand the libertarian background. I get it. But do you want to grow to doing billions of dollars per month in business at BitShares? Because if you do, KYC-AML, let us unload all of the Reg A Plus and the Reg D things that can be traded amongst accredited investors only in that case, but it's also a bunny hop to the Reg A Plus, and I'll show you guys how. But if you did the KYC-AML, if you just did that, you must understand the securities law requires that you always know who owns the security. So BitShares is great. Let it be shares. Be proud to be a security. Be proud to be legal, and be proud to be beyond scrutiny, because the SEC and the CFTC are only there to protect investors. And people that have nothing to hide should embrace this.
And Stan, let me ask you this, because you've been on so often where the Blue Rockers, my group, where we're the newbies. We're that retail group. We're that people. We're that audience that you guys are reaching out for. And the biggest audience out there, we're giant, still trying to learn, you guys. So what's the problem with shares anyway? What's the big deal? Why are people
the bigger thing is
having
bank.
A problem
the thing
with
is, you can't, let's just say bank and not digress. You can't call yourself a bank in some states.
Well,
and in some
we
states,
know about
you can't call
yourself
totally
a dollar.
So but let's not go there, because that's it's an example. But all I would say is this: you can't call yourself a peso in Mexico. You can't call yourself a dollar here. You can't call yourself certain terms. But calling yourself a share, there's nothing wrong with it. And frankly, we are proud to say that we will be bringing SEC-compliant Regulation A Plus and D offerings to the BitShares community in the globe on BitShares. It's good. But I did want to say one thing. I did want to mention one thing, though. There is, unfortunately, there are always a few bad apples. And unfortunately, someone started creating BitShares accounts with robots to get those free coins. And I'm sorry, we don't support scams and spams and
Right.
robots,
No, of course
folks.
not.
So unfortunately, that generous offer that my entire group had made to give away to BitShares, somebody screwed it up because now we can't. Because according to what we're seeing there, we're going to owe them millions and millions of coins because they've just got a robot running. And I could show you a graph with the spike. Someone brought it to our attention in our Telegram group. And we're like, crap, that sucks. That just spoiled it for everyone. So what we're going to do to make up for it is that we are going to only let people who now come over to BitcoinLatina.org and actually create accounts there and join our Telegram and actually show the real people. And there's something else to do with number of coins that must be in your account that in BitShares, and we could do it easily that way, supposedly. But to me, that's harmful because then it requires that somebody must have money to get our coins. And that's not fair to people that don't have money or are broke this week until next paycheck. That's not fair.
Okay.
And so I want to make it free still. And I hate to make you jump through one more hoop, folks, but you got to have anyone that has a BitShares account after or before they've registered at BitcoinLatina.org and gone and click Claim My Coins, go through it, get the email, verify yourself, and I'm so sorry that somebody is making all of us work so much harder for what should have been simple. Sorry, guys.
Okay,
but until midnight Pacific, that's what we'll do. Okay.
Okay. All right. So, Stan, what do you want to say to?
And there's going to be a link for earning more coins if you do tasks. You can earn by joining our Telegram. We just got someone who's doing Portuguese, our Portuguese channel in Telegram, a Spanish channel in because our first language is English. Unfortunately, our founders are three of us. So. Volunteer, folks. Come on in. Be moderators. Earn coins. Refer your friends.
You're going to get them. You're going to get them for sure.
Lots of things. Stan? Post on Twitter. Yeah. But just work and you'll earn. It's easy.
Oh, absolutely.
It's honest.
You got to jump in. So, Stan, what would you like to say about all that? I don't want to forget you there.
Well, I
see your face right in the middle.
I could listen to John all day.
I know it. Me too. I love it. I think everybody can.
One thing people don't know about BitShares is it was designed to support the global regulatory environment. Okay, so we have one kind of regulations in the U.S. and different kinds in China and Europe and, frankly, all over the world. And we wanted to have a system that would allow you to do the thing John just mentioned, which is to control who has access to your securities. We have something called a whitelist. Okay, so when a security gets issued, the issuer of that security basically creates a list of accounts that are allowed to hold that security. And then that protects and manages the regulatory compliance that he's talking about. But, Joe the bartender can have, Joe's pretzel chips coin, and some little toy in a high school wants to, do some little project and make one, or an instructor a high school teacher wants to teach people about crypto. They can make their own coin, and those things are just little toys, and they can be in there and trade along. They're not securities; they're just game tokens or whatever. And anything that is a security is then got the tools to comply. And it may be that if you're issuing something in Zimbabwe, and it's confined to Zimbabwe, then you got that. Now, one of the things I want to see added into BitShares to augment all that is the ability to regulate by IP address in order to restrict what parts of the world certain coins can happen. Right now, the way you restrict that is you got to do the KYC, AML, find out where the people live, and then restrict it. If they're Americans, then Americans are not allowed to have a lot of fun, so they are restricted from access to certain coins. But the only point I want to make is BitShares got all these wonderful tools that people are just starting to use that allow people to comply with the places where their coins will circulate.
Right.
Yeah, and remember too, guys, we were on a mission at Stokens to create something that I won't name the company who's...
John, I love the name Stokens. When he first told me, about 8 months ago or something, I went, Stokens, that's the coolest name of all of them.
I wish I could take credit,
Stokens.
but I never take credit when it's not mine. It was actually a really, really early Bitcoin miner named Sean over many drinks and beers at a late-night bar at 4 in the morning, and I was calling it security tokens. And he said, it should be called Stokens. And all the other drunks around me said, Stokens! And I was like, Stokens! And it was Stokens. Yeah. But I just wanted to say that there were a group of people, and there's a group out right now that says that they're going to provide coins to people that will keep the legal regs and laws and everything in their country up to date on the blockchain. So with KYC, AML, and this, you can put them together and always be legally compliant. Well, guess what? What a waste of time. And frankly, bowing down to other regulatory rules that don't protect investors as much as what is the highest standard, which is the SEC and CFTC. Guess what? By treaty globally, all you have to do is hold everything to the highest standard, which again only means protecting investors from fraud. That's what they're there for, folks. Okay? If you hold everyone to that level that fraud cannot be committed easily, you're going to have to fight to do that crap, okay? And if you get caught, you're going to go to prison, okay? If you hold everyone to that level, you covered the globe. You don't need to know what's here and there. But to Stan's point, you can KYC AML add it onto this. You all would have the most legal exchange in the world instantly. All of our stuff is going to be SEC and CFTC approved, or why would we bring it to you? And we want to have a long list, just like what happened with Ethereum and the ERC20 tokens, and everyone had to use ETH to buy it. Well, guess what? Try that legally, faster, better, okay? And you've got BitShares. BitShares is awesome. I love it.
Don't you love all this wonderful talk about you, Stan?
Yeah, bring him on again.
I know. Oh, it's great. Well, I loved that. Here's what I love. Okay, so, I'm a regular person, not one of these geeks. I'm the ones coming in that's saying, I think I'm that group that is coming in saying, I can't do it like my parents did it and my grandparents did it, and I can't do it like some of the other people underneath me that aren't doing it at all. There's some switch I've got to make. So I looked into the crypto world and said, wow, this is it. And not only does it look like a giant new horizon, but it looks like a big horizon. And so, as we have learned from you along the way with our series of Crypto Connie, Stan, and the BitShares now, to take in all that I've taken in from what you've taught me, and then listening to other people, what you've taught all Blue Rockers. But then when John goes on and he starts throwing it all out in words that were already in my mind that I couldn't even put there, I went, yes, because it backed it up. He is so enthusiastic about it, and he's got the knowledge, and it was just so nice to get it backed up like that. And let me tell you, the buzz is big out there too, and especially what you're doing tonight. Excuse me? Stan and Dan and Charles. I know. Stan and Dan and Charles. Now, I don't know Charles. Stan, who is Charles? Charles was an early BitShares guy that went on to be the CEO of Ethereum, and then did Ethereum Classic and now Cardano. So between his deals with BitShares too, he's done like $150 billion in current market cap worth of coins he's been involved in. And then you've got Dan, who's got EOS and Steam and BitShares. So he also has done 11 figures. Okay, crazy, right? Or whatever that is. It's
Charles is a smart guy. Once worked in this office right here.
Oh.
Right.
There you go.
In the red room?
There you go.
We call it the bridge.
Oh, the bridge. Oh, it's the bridge.
Okay, so here's the question I have for everyone that's out there about BitShares again. Why is it that Ethereum's worth $100 billion and Cardano's worth $10 billion, give or take up to 15? I don't know if it went to 30 at some point. And yet they literally are saying they want to be a mix of Ethereum and BitShares. BitShares is BitShares. It already invented it. It's already here. I don't get it. And why is it that, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It seems to me and I'm not advising anyone to buy coins. I'm just saying, again, like I did last time, comps in the marketplace is that's all we can ever do. BitShares should be in the top 5. Doesn't make any sense. They invented it. They're still the best. Everyone else is trying to copy them. I heard Bittrex is starting a decentralized exchange maybe it's with Charles also, but they're trying to do an exchange. I heard rumors. These are just rumors. But they want to do a decentralized exchange. They want to be BitShares. BitShares is BitShares.
So Stan,
it should be in the top 5. This is stupid.
What do you think about that? What are you saying?
I'm loving it. Don't stop him.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just.
And it's not
see your
shill
poor little
guys
soul
either,
sitting there.
One of the things that I've always said in my companies is anybody that gets caught selling will be fired. Okay? It's educating people. You make your own choices in life, people. I'm not God. I'm not giving down orders. Certainly, I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm giving you an education, and you can do with it what you want.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't care. Check my facts. I'm demonstrable and defensible. Go for it.
Fact check John Gotts, and do not look under Jeff Gotts. Even though if you did look under Jeff Gotts, you still might find him because, I don't know, I made a little mistake yesterday.
Oh, we had these people coming in the Telegram channel, and they're like, if the Prince of Spain is on your team, senators and House members, that's a first in crypto. Why isn't it front news? My answer is this, folks. I'm not using people to sell my product. No. I'm using my product to sell my product.
I like that. I like that. Now, speaking of Michael earlier, Michael, though he didn't make it here, he has made it on the live chat, and he is answering some questions on there, too. So thank you, Michael. We appreciate that. Before we get to some of the questions, go ahead, Stan. What do you got?
I just can't resist it. I got to ask
one. Put it right in the middle. Put it right in the middle. There we go.
I got to ask.
Who is John Galt? Who is
John Gotts?
Is that what you're going to say?
Is that John?
Yes, I believe in enterprise.
Throw out this book of Atlas Shrugged. Ah, good man.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm a Republican and I love Donald Trump. How do you like that?
Man, Trump.
Now that
Trump,
John
is
is
tweeting away. Wait a minute. Excuse me. My president is tweeting me. Excuse me. I have to take a break. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Donald Trump is a blue.
What do you know? Okay. Oh, wait a minute, Stan. Tell me about the book that you were just showing there.
Well, I'm saying it is a classic about all kinds of libertarian ideals or whatever.
There you go.
But throughout this book, this mystery question that starts out almost on page 1: who is John Gotts? Well, it's John Galt in the book.
Okay.
Now that John has emerged on the scene with Bitcoin Latina, they're going to be asking, who is John Gotts?
Absolutely.
Well, in fact, to Ayn Rand's point,
I love it.
We don't want to give handouts. I don't believe in putting someone on the plantation that the Democrats put them on. Sorry if anyone is here a Democrat, but I don't believe in handouts. I believe in lifting people up. And I believe in educating them more than anything. We're going to have a huge education section in Bitcoin Latina to teach people how to program, teach them how to mine, teach them how to do all of these things, build distributed apps, be an entrepreneur. We want people teaching this at universities. But if you lift people up and you don't give them handouts and you let them work, people want to work. People are not lazy. They don't want food stamps.
Structure.
They want a job that pays a living wage.
People need structure.
I think Ayn Rand would agree. Well, and yeah, but I would agree. I would think that Ayn Rand would agree that although she said take the side of the factory because the factory supplies the job to the masses, agreed, but also realized that minimum wage from the time when I was a child in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, if you took that minimum wage and its buying power in the United States today, you'd have to get about $22 per hour to get that same living wage. So I understand a $15 per hour minimum wage. It doesn't have to be at Burger King. These people were working on the line. But I was making, I think my first job, I got $2.35 or $1.35 an hour and I was washing dishes. But I could buy more with it. So I'm saying inflationary wise, I believe that Ayn Rand would agree you must have factories, but they must pay a living wage. And what I love about what we're doing with Bitcoin Latina is we're giving away our Bitcoin Latina over the next 10 years. Another question we keep getting, there's 1 billion coins you created. Miners can't make any. What are you talking about? That's over 10 years if we're lucky. And that means we gave it out across Latin America to the universities. And they were hungry for it. And by referring their friends and being involved, they earned. We will have grants that we give to people that want to build distributed applications, just like people can put an application to BitShares. I think you guys did invent that, like I said last program. But this enriches a nation, and it gives them the fuel that they need. Abraham Lincoln won the war because when he went to the Federal Reserve in New York and tried to borrow money, they wanted to charge 29% interest to fund the war effort. and do the South as well. And the loser must pay, because the Federal Reserve Bank, of course, is a private bank. Everybody that researches it knows this is true. And we can't audit them. It's crazy. But what Lincoln did was he printed $450 million worth of greenbacks, and he funded the war effort, and he bought bullets and blankets and gunpowder and everything, and he won the war with it, okay? We can do essentially the same thing, because we're putting out a fat protocol blockchain that's represented by this cryptocurrency, and it truly, like Bitcoin, is never sold. It's given out for work. But through the work, which is valuable, and Ayn Rand would agree, work is valuable, the work, the value of the people's work and the miners and the network and the size of it, and the dApps built on it, and the enterprise and governments plugging into it, it all gives it an intrinsic value that can then, in the treasury, be given out as a reward or a grant or something, so that speculators can then purchase it and fund this effort. It's unbelievable. It's not utopian. It's all based on work. And any coin out there that doesn't base things on work and are just trying to float hype, they're shit coins, and they're going to go away. And I think most of them are. But that's why 90% of the market is all in the value of the top 15 coins. There's a reason.
The next show, we'll have to do this again for sure. But when we do, this is more of like a nighttime in the library with the lights low and a good bottle of port. So let's get to some of the questions over here, okay?
Sure.
Let's see here. I'm skipping some of them. Blue Rockers, those of you in the live chat, by the way, this is Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis, Crypto Connie in the house, along with Stan Larimer, the godfather of BitShares, and John Gott, CEO of BitcoinLatina Foundation. We're all Blue Rockers here. And when you ask a question, please put it in caps so that I can pick it out, because I know you guys like to kind of converse amongst each other. So let me see what I can find here. Matt Buckley is asking, without financial privacy, and let's Stan's usually kind of short, so let's ask Stan at first, and then you, John. Okay, so hold on here.
You know what? You can ask Stan the rest of the time.
No, yeah, hang on. Yeah, exactly. Rest those little jaws there. You do good. You do great. It's fun to listen to you. Okay. Without financial privacy, how do we guard against being targeted by kidnappers?
Well, you've got to have privacy, but that's not the same as anonymity. Anonymity is a license to do things for which you're not accountable. Privacy is your right to do things that your foes, let's say, whether they be criminals or competitors, don't get inside information on what you're doing that they can use against you. So when you engineer a system, you've got to provide the capability that can provide privacy where it's needed. Sometimes you want to be able to make a public statement. You want people to be able to see that you contributed to this fund or you paid something, and you want it documented in a public way. And sometimes you want to keep things private, but in the end, you have to have the ability for, when a crime is committed, someone to trace it back and hold you accountable. So that's sort of a balancing act that we have to take. And of course, one of the things you really want to be able to hold accountable is the governments that are enforcing that rule, right? So we've got a lot of work to do to make sure that we have fair and honest referees that we can trust to do that critical function of looking behind the scenes and holding people accountable. There is in the crypto world a counter thread that says until we have such totally honest refs, we need some protection from that. All of this, there's no easy answers, but that lays out the problem that those of us who engineer trustless systems have to wrestle with.
And you are the Godfather, so we trust in you. In the Godfather, we trust. You did a good job with that, Stan. Come on. John, do you want to answer that one before the other question?
Couldn't have said it better.
Excellent. There we go. What? Is that it? No.
Oh, sure.
I love you.
Is he feeling okay?
I'm going to mention. Yeah, I love it. I love him. Grace to every. Oh, I love it. Nice to meet you, John, in cyber world. I love it. But I'm sure we'll meet in person. Absolutely, we will. I'm sure of it.
Namaste.
I love it. I love it. There you go. Okay, so here was Murat Alagaz. Murat. Hope I said that okay, Murat. I hate to slash names. How will it be? How will the effect of Bitcoin? How will the effect of BitcoinLatina be to the price of BitShares?
Well, it should rise. Is he asking what it'll do long term? Because this relationship, I hope to get BitShares into the top 5. Now, again, that's just me and my own desire to see BitShares where it rightly should be in the community and in the coin market cap. That's just fair. You can't show me another coin out there that has what they do. And if you do, I'd love to see it. Love to see it. And better yet, show me in an graphic how it is that any coin in the top 10 has more to offer than BitShares, or is safer, or hasn't been hacked or ripped off or manipulated, other than what happened over there at where a few months back. But we won't go there. But
well, now is the time to buy. I'm telling you.
BitcoinLatina, well, I'm not saying that. I can never say that.
No,
that's against the law for me to say that. And again, it's also, everyone has to be clear that I am an owner. Hey, look, I've got to be clear. I've got BitShares in my own account. I've got BitcoinLatina in my own account. The trust now has well over 1 million coins in its account, and we're not selling them. We're hodling them. We're hoping that they go up. I'm not going to be, of course I do. That means that we have more money to spend on the foundation and other charities. However, it is a fact, and that's why I say all the things I say are educational and they're defensible and demonstrable. And there's nothing I like more than a good debate that changes my mind. So if anybody out there in the world can show me how anything in the top 5 offers more than BitShares or more proven out or was created by a smarter group of people, I'd love to see it. So BCL is going to lift BitShares because we're going to work with them long term. What we're going to put out on the 14th is going to teach people how to bank the unbanked and stabilize inflationary, unstable currencies in Latin America. And it's all built on the back of BitShares. Yes, we're using Pager. That's not the solution. We'll describe the solution on Wednesday, the 14th, but we will also, I'll let you know right now, couldn't do without BitShares. It's all on BitShares. BitShares is going to bank the unbanked. We help that.
And tell people, again, the breaking news, which is what exactly they need to do before midnight tonight and what it means for them.
Well, I can't say anybody needs to do anything,
That's
right?
True. Because you're a part of the foundation, right? So you got to watch your words,
well,
right?
And not only that, but this is not the foundation selling, it's the trust, and I'm one of the founders,
okay.
So stand. Yes, we donated these coins. Yes, we're giving it all the way to charity. Yes, when it is done, we will have it audited monthly until the BitShares in that account is spent. We'll have it audited. It'll go exactly where we say. We'll be the first crypto to ever be audited on a regular basis like that. But what I can tell you is that it's a fact that if until midnight Pacific time anybody buys BitcoinLatina tokens at BitShares.org, we will double the number of coins that you have, but not at the stroke of midnight, on the 14th, when everybody else can start trading them that are volunteers. We have a way to let the miners on-ramp before our atomic swap is done, which our team is working on right now with some core developers in Thailand, BitShares.
Okay, so you buy BitcoinLatina through with BitShares on the BitShares wallet, and
just get some BitShares if you don't already, and if you have them, great. Just look up BCL on a BitShare swap,
okay,
and you'll see right there that we've got them for sale starting at 65, then goes 70, 75, 80, up 100 BitShares per coin as it sells itself out. But in that first group that's left, no matter where the price is, at midnight, we take a snapshot, and on the 14th, from the last group that we were going to sell for 100, we're going to take some of those, not the foundation, the trust, and we're going to deposit those into those BitShares wallets and double what they had. Now, I will also say that starting at midnight, anybody that hodls those coins through the 14th, right before we release, will give 25% more. So ultimately, you could end up with 75% more. I guess that's the right number, a little better than that because you're compounding. But we're going to take a second snapshot just before we let everybody in. We're going to take a second snapshot on the 14th at midnight Pacific, and we're going to give 25% more to all the wallets again. So if you just buy, hodl, get more when it comes up, but also another 25% too. You could ultimately end up with 75% more coins. I'm sorry, 150% more. I'm not doing math right. I've been getting too little sleep, but you know what I mean. A new offer starts, but then once it starts trading, it's trading. And by the way, everyone else will come in, and our coins will stay at those prices until they're sold in the trust. We're not moving them around. When things come in, if it starts moving up in price, we're not going to pull them away and ask for more. Those were fair prices in our estimation based on comps in the marketplace to the less than 5 million coins that will be in circulation on the 14th, expected. And I'm going to put out also a cap table of coins, and we're going to have that up, and we're going to try and make it dynamic on the BitcoinLatina.org website so people will always know how many are vesting by the second for the next 4 years. Even myself, everybody, we get some coins up front and we get the rest over 4 years for work. And anyone that stops working or isn't working out, they stop. But nobody wants to sell their coins on my side either, so I can't even say there'd be 5 million in circulation. There could be, the miners right now are just past 500,000, and by the 14th, they'll probably be around 600,000 at 20,000 coins being mined daily. I know this is a BitShares talk. Right, this is Ethereum hard fork talk, right, miners. But the fact is, that they will have more. They will have half right now, but it could be more than half, likely, as many coins as the trust has for sale, right? So they're going to. But other than that, I don't know that many people are going to be selling. So if it's a couple of million coins, I wouldn't be surprised. And then, since CoinMarketCap on commodity tokens specifically only looks at what's in circulation, it's possible that you have to create our value based on the number of coins in circulation, which, like I said, might be 2 million. It won't be, I don't think, more than 5 unless it goes wild and so many people sign up between now and then. I just didn't expect that. Do the math, folks.
Hey, I'm just happy.
For us to be in the top 10 or even the top 25, coin looks pretty cheap based on those comps. I'm not saying buy it.
There you go.
I'm a big owner. I'm not a financial planner. Talk to your own people on that. But I think Bitcoin Latina is well priced at that, and I think that BitShares is dramatically underpriced, in my opinion.
Stan, would you like to say anything?
Well, yeah, you said what good does it do BitShares? We want BitShares to become known as the exchange that is, premium quality stuff, insanely great products.
Insanely great.
And so every time we get another insanely great product, it drives more traffic to the BitShares system where they discover other insanely great products. And one of those, of course, is BitShares itself. So the more people that have BitShares wallets, the easier it is for them to discover other things or react when they do discover and get something. So John is going to bring, I wouldn't be surprised if he doubles the number of BitShares wallets that are out there.
Oh, we have 9 million email addresses and social connections that we've just been waiting for the right time, and it'll be Monday, Tuesday-ish, that we're going to push out to 9 million people telling them to come get BitShares wallets.
Excellent.
How can that be bad for BitShares?
And make sure you tell them that they'll hear all sorts of news on CryptoConnie on Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis.
We sure will.
That's right. Got to make sure you throw that out so we can continue to tell more people.
I will educate them on that.
That's right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's get back to some of the questions over here. They're backing up on me. I want y'all to answer these. Got to take care of the Blue Rockers out there. Okay, and Michael's doing a great job on the live chat. Thank you very much, Michael.
Michael's amazing.
He is. Sorry. Next time he's going on when I learn Michael more. You technical geeks out there need to show me some of this stuff. What are you doing? Help me out. That's so easy for you all. Okay, so Matt Buckley is asking, with KYC, you're ultimately, he said, why KYC? You are ultimately going to be providing your information with a centralized database controlled by the very people we are fighting against.
I'm not fighting against them.
Stan, you got any words?
I'm wanting to reform the abuses that are occurring from time to time and provide a level playing field for everybody. And
that's right.
So, but we've already described the fact that there is a valid reason why you need KYC. But
it's the law with security standards.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the law. You
if
can't get
want,
around that silly pesky old thing.
If you want
to protect people that believing in you and giving you their money, hello.
You want to be the number one.
I want
system.
a GOTS coin. I'm buying a GOTS coin, man.
It's called BitcoinLatina.
There you go. That's right.
And BitShares.
I love it. I'm sorry, Stan. Go ahead.
Well, like he says, everything in this world is a trade-off and balance of battle between good and evil. Okay, and so there are mechanisms that are needed in order to do that, like he's described. And if you want to be the number one blockchain / financial system in the world, then you got to provide those kind of consumer protections. Okay, but that doesn't mean that's the only thing we have to do. We have to make sure that that information is properly protected. We've got a lot of work that's being done on that, and we'll be introducing that in the coming months. John has some excellent systems to assist with that, and it is voluntary. Okay, on an asset basis, you can decide whether you want to be eligible for that or not.
Good point.
So let everybody seek the level they're comfortable at.
And BitShares isn't going to turn into a KYC monster or something. Those people that don't want to get KYC compliant coins, don't buy them. There are other coins that you can go buy.
Yeah.
So Murat asked, I have BitShares in Binance. Do I get BitcoinLatina, or do I need to do something different?
You got to put them at BitShares.
It's all about BitShares.
I mean, put it this way: it's not how many BitShares you have in your account or anything like that. We're now, you might not have caught up on this part of it. Some jackass went and set up a robot and started creating fake BitShares accounts so that they could just screw everybody. And they're not going to screw everybody because we're not going to allow it. But unfortunately now that jackass has made something that was easy harder for everyone. You now have to go to BitcoinLatina.org, click claim your coins, and actually go through that process so that we can stop the robot.
If you have BitShares in Binance, how do you transfer that to the BitShares account? So that
all you have to do is go to BitShares.org, set up a wallet, transfer in your BitShares from Binance, and once you're done with that, you've got some there. Also, you cannot from Binance buy BCL tokens right now. If you wanted to double those at midnight or make 25% more on them,
they need to be in the BitShares wallet.
They actually have to be in the BitShares wallet because there's no place else we have a trading pair. We would love to be on Binance, by the way. Love it. Great. Would love to be there. But we're going to be on BitShares only for a little bit. We love BitShares, and we want to make sure that everybody has to use BitShares in order to buy our token. Because we love BitShares.
So listen to this one before you guys comment on anything. Let me read two of them before you say anything. So Matt Buckley writes in and says, it seems to be that you are bending over backwards to hand the powers that be the very tools they desire to create a mark of the beast system. Patrick comes in and says, no, this is the sword that kills the beast. Stan, I know you have a comment on that one.
Boom!
And so do you. Go, yeah. Pat. Go, Pat.
Patrick!
One people don't realize is that while there will be a mark of the beast system, there's nothing in the Bible that says that there can't be another system that gives people who don't want to participate an opportunity to do that. We have a chance to engineer that and have a lot of different currencies. And keep in mind that even though this is compliant in the sense of being able to take any given asset and make it fit the regulatory needs of it, it doesn't mean that you're stuck with all of the other things like having your life turned off. It's still a decentralized system. There's nobody that can come in and throw the switch and say you cannot buy or sell. And there's lots of other assets out there that as long as we can keep a lot of them and not have there be a one world currency, we give people options.
I love that. Michael's having a field day answering these things too. I just love it. He's doing great. Thank you, Michael. I need you every time we are on. Thank you very much. And John, what did you want to say to the sword there?
No, I mean, Pat's right. Look, you know what's going to kill this? Pass a Regulation A plus Title IV Tier 2 background check. It's sort of what a broker, dealer, applicant might have to do with FINRA. They want to know that in your background, you've never been committed of securities violations that may have even barred you from being in the security space because you screwed people. Okay? It's not because you were good. It's because you were bad. And don't you want to keep bad characters out of here? Or do you want to just open the floodgates and let everybody get screwed? So that makes no sense. That's the way to build a house of cards that's going to get blown over by the first breeze that comes along. But on the other hand, if you build with brick and you put in regulatory framework to protect the investors long term and eliminate fraud and do background checks on people. By the way, the SEC can't turn you down flat because they don't like your business plan. If you dotted the I's and crossed the T's and went through the background checks and had an audit of your financials, you can raise money right now from the public, put it on a coin, and trade it on a peer-to-peer network like BitShares. What's the problem?
By the way,
I'm not going to get shut down doing it that way. So I've actually protected my investors, because if I do it the wrong way and I get shut down, didn't I just screw everyone that believed in me? The laws are there. You're not going to make them go away. And anyone that wants to play like they're evil and we're good and therefore we won't follow their laws, okay, good. Kiss your ass goodbye. You're not going to be here long. And you just screwed over all of your investors. I'm here to protect my investors.
The philosophy of BitShares is that people should have a choice on how much protection they want. And the governments of the world out there don't see this yet, and we have a lot of work to do, but we're engaged.
People don't have to participate, Stan. You're right. They just don't. If they don't like this philosophy, don't participate, and that's okay.
Yeah. And so the idea, if we can get there, and we're not there yet, of saying, look, people, and we've got this already, right? There's Las Vegas, where you can go and you can gamble. And yet in a lot of places you can't gamble because the governments there feel the need to protect people from their own addictions, if you will. And so there's these competing things of having safety or having freedom. And ideally, we can get to the point where, look, this is the for adults only section. There's precedence for this already. Qualified investors are designated as people that are allowed to do this because they're presumed to be sophisticated and have enough.
Because they have money. That made them smart. They might have inherited it. They might be dumb as a doornail.
The point is that there are different rules for different people, but they're imposed on them by arbitrary outside standards as opposed to, ideally, I'd like to flip that around and allow people to elect. Look, you want a guaranteed safe zone? These are all the securities that have passed all the testing. And if you want to go out into the Wild West and risk your own money and take your own chances on buying things that are not inspected, if you will, or not, certified as being safe, then you ought to have that right. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that you do that. I'm not saying that is the law today. I'm saying that's some of the reform I would like to see, because I would like people to have the freedom to say, okay, I'm taking the safety belt off. I want to be free to take that risk if I do so myself. The default is that I have extra protection, but right now there are places where protection is mandatory. That's the way it is. I'd like to see people have the freedom to choose how much protection they want, have the governments provide the service and do the good housekeeping seal of approval on assets, and let people go through the steps to get the freedom to go into the Wild West if that's where they want to play. But at that point, they've made the decision themselves, and they should have the freedom to do that.
Super, super smart point, Stan. I can't disagree with that. And it is interesting, isn't it, that Americans must be protected from investing in startups because they could lose their money, but they can mortgage their home and put it down on black and spin that wheel.
Yeah.
This is true. If you're just joining us, this is Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. Crypto Connie here, along with Stan Larimer, the godfather of BitShares, and John Gotts, the CEO of the BitcoinLatina Foundation. And it's been great. We've had a great breaking news show. Just before we go, I'm going to check for any last questions. And while I do that, can you tell us one more time what the deal is for tonight before midnight, John?
Up to midnight tonight, for whatever coins are in your BitShares wallet of BitcoinLatina, that number will be doubled on the 14th from our own trust wallet. We'll double up the number that are there. From the midnight Pacific until the 14th, anyone that comes in and purchases will receive on the 14th, including everything you got up to there, but not the new coins that are coming. Sorry, I misspoke earlier. You have 25% additional coins added to your wallet. So there's still, it won't be 100%, but it'll be 25% to what you have in your wallet on the 14th. So hopefully people will hold it through the 14th. On the 14th, you all should expect that there will be coins hitting the market from the miners. You should expect that there will be some coins from the over 100 volunteers that are working on the BitcoinLatina Foundation project. They will be given their coins, their cryptocurrency in their BitShares wallet, and those will be coming available for sale on the 14th, and that will put some selling pressure, I'm sure, on the coin, and I don't know what it's going to do after that. That's just a heads up for everybody that that's coming, and that's going to be a dilutive event. But also consider how many coins are out there in circulation then. Will be in the millions, and I mean like close to single million, to 3 probably, and most of that won't be for sale necessarily. So just go look at the comps in the marketplace and look at what we're doing, and I think that you'll find a fair price. And with BitShares, it's just not a fair price right now, and you all know that. It should be in the top 5. So just that's my parting shot.
All right. And Stan, you want anything to say in closing?
Nope, it's just I can't tell you how much I appreciate the innovation and work that John has done to produce this new product. Just keep in mind that while we talk about BitShares being this fastest blockchain, 3-second transaction time, unlimited bandwidth, every coin like this one that gets hosted on that network inherits those same properties. So this is just as fast as the fastest coin out there. And it's got all the other properties that he's designed in for the Latin America population.
Excellent. All right. You guys hang in there.
Thank you, Connie.
Thank you guys very much. My little blue rocker buddies here with Crypto Connie. Hang in there for a second, you guys. I want to thank all of you that have joined us on this breaking news with Crypto Connie and Blue Rock Talk. Also, I want to thank those of you that have donated me some coins in my BitShares wallet. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And when I see that from time to time, it's a nice little joy. It's like it lets me know that you enjoy the show and you're making sure that it stays alive. So I do appreciate that, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to go right back into keeping Blue Rock Talk alive. So thank you. All right. Besides this, March 3rd, I'll be on Coast to Coast. March 24th, I'll be on Coast to Coast. So I'm happy that you guys support me there as well. And of course, always more to come with Crypto Connie. More to come with Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis, all that fun stuff. Thank those of you that were there for Bigfoot Friday last night, too. That was a lot of fun. So until we meet again, take care, Blue Rockers. Thank you for joining us with Blue Rock Talk and breaking news.